this. Hopefully I do a good one. All right. Welcome to the training class on Dotloop and Zipforms. This is to just kind of give an overview of how to use the two together. It's not an in-depth class on Zipforms. It's not an in-depth class on Dotloop, but it's showing how, what I have found, the easiest way to use the two together to get documents signed and everything moving along. So I will always start out, of course, in Zipforms, and you guys have been used to having it there on going through Zipforms through your guarantee site. There's always been this place out here through CAR. You get to it through California Association of Realtors, main page, business tools, Zipforms Plus. You access it now, and it takes you in. You have to, if you haven't logged in already, it'll log you in at that point, and you get to go to this page. Actually, I've already opened the transaction. You're going to go to, when you get in there, it'll be a page. This is your, what they call your dashboard, and it'll list all your transactions and different things you're working on. So I went ahead and just grabbed one here and opened it for us to use as our sample for today. Real quickly, and again, you guys can chime in anytime you want. There's 4 of us on here, so no need to type anything. Just speak up if you want to ask a question, okay? You'll see I have the residential purchase agreement, which of course, if you've written one in the last 2 years, you know, is kind of a packet which comes together with the disclosure regarding real estate agency and the possible representation of more than one buyer or seller, and then goes to the RPA, and at the end it has the buyer's advisory, inspection advisory. So there's actually 4 forms contained in this one packet. If you're writing an agreement, what I found very interesting is a lot of agencies haven't really required this of their people, but talking with the state and the CAR legal people, they really feel that we should always be having a buyer representation agreement. And so I have one in this file. I'm going to go over here and tell you there's 3 of them. Okay, this one is good to use just when you're doing a specific address. It's really almost like you're working with me until you say you're not. Kind of very open-ended. Exclusive ties them in. They're only using you. This is the best one. And if it's one of your very dedicated clients, that's the one you want to use. This one is also kind of doesn't let them just back out. It sets it for a period of time, but it also says they can work with other agents if they're, you know, and buy properties that haven't been shown by you through them. This is the best. I did use this one because this particular contract that I wrote, buyer was calling me on a property, trying to get in a low bid, wanted me to represent him. You know, legally I got to write it up, so I did write it up. It didn't get accepted, so no big deal. And I didn't want to, I mean, I've never met them before. I never met them in person, talked to them on the phone. So I used this buyer representation agreement, which is completely open-ended. And then one other form that I always, and is on your company checklist, the statewide buyer and seller advisory. This is a fantastic form, and one that the BRE is excited about because it does exonerate us as agents in ways that the other forms don't. I'm going to refer to this one as your get out of jail free card. If you use this one in your file, you're pretty much protected on everything. For example, I'm going to go ahead and go pull it up. All the forms say in different places that we are not responsible for the accuracy of square footage or lot size or something like that. But this is the only one. It's the only form that says specifically, buyer and seller are advised that only an appraiser or land surveyor, as applicable, can reliably confirm square footage, lot size, property corners, and exact boundaries of the property. And it goes on to exonerate us and says, representations regarding these items made in the MLS, advertisements from property tax records, are often approximations or are based on inaccurate or incomplete records. So we've given them a great disclosure that none of this we've said out here is set in stone. And you have to go, if you want to know what it is, you got to go have an appraiser or a land surveyor. This is the only document that says that. This is why, after consulting with our legal, we've decided that this is a required form in our packets. That being said, I'm not going to go into how to fill out zip forms. You're all familiar with that, how to add a form. But we're going to have, let's say this is our buyer packet. So how do I get it, into Dotloop? Well, it's real simple. Copy to PDF. Oh, no. That's the wrong button. Sorry. Why did it go all the way out? Let's go back to this file. Save as a PDF. And you just save it. Now it's going to ask you which files. I'm going to bring over all three. Any questions so far? So I initially hit the wrong button. It was copy. No, it was just save as. Save it to the computer. It'll say, you want me to finish? Yep. You'll see that since I picked more than one form, it first puts it on a zip form, in a zip file. So then I open the zip file, and I'm going to extract all. There they are right there. Extract them. It opens them up in another. This is all on, of course, Microsoft Windows based. How it does it on an Apple computer, I'm going to have my wife teach that class sometime because I don't touch Apples except my phone. But there are my files. I can get rid of that extracted one. I can actually shrink this down now and get rid of logging into zip forms, because now I'm going to go into my Dotloop. And when you sign up with the company, everybody gets a Dotloop account. And here's going into personal profile. So they're called loops because you can see they form kind of circles. Or you can view this, as I had on the other one, as a list like that. I keep my personal page like this. So I'm going to go and show you in Dotloop. You open up a new loop. I'm gonna call this zip to dot training. Okay. And it goes directly and opens up. This is now the loop page itself. Okay. First thing you always want to do before you even bring the documents in is I'm going to add a person. And I'm going to add and Eli, you're going to be my buyer. Okay? Didn't know it today, but you were buying a house.
All right.
It's $175,000 in Victorville. Don't worry, I know you can afford it. Okay, so I've added him in. One thing I wanted to point out, when you log in as an agent, it'll always have you. It'll always have admin for equity real estate. This is the corporate office. And this says Equity Real Estate, admin for Equity Real Estate Pacific Coast. On yours, it'll say admin for Equity California Real Estate Fresno. That's going to be M's page. Okay, so he's automatically part of your file. You never have to add him to your file. In fact, if you add him to the file, it's going to actually add confusion, because then is he signing as M, somebody else, or M, the administrator. So you never have to add corporate or M to your file. You can add anybody else you want to. You don't need to add me either, unless there's a reason to add me in so I can see the file if there's a real question, which I'm assuming you guys are all so good, I'm never going to have to look at any of your files because we're not going to have any problems. Okay? So now we want to get in some files. Well, let me show you a few things about Dotloop. I guess I'm turning this into a little bit more of a overview of Dotloop. I went to that you can add documents right here 3 different ways. Templates. You can go find them on your computer. You can bring them directly in from email by copying the link in the email. I'm going to go first off and bring in our templates. Okay? And I'm going to bring in the master buying forms. These are all the forms that you could possibly use when you have a buyer. I normally just go up here and select all. I normally send my own client gifts, so I don't use that one. We don't, let's see. This 80/20 is used when the purchase price is like under 100,000. And basically the $4.99 would be more than 20% of the commission. And that, in that case, you're going to request that the branch broker, M, agrees to give you an 80/20 split, keeping you with as much money as possible. I know this one doesn't count for that, so I'm going to delete that. And I'm just going to bring everything else over into the file. So these are the templates are files that we have already made for you in Dotloop. You'll notice the first group of these are all in black. These are actual forms you can work with right there. Oh, I brought over the referral agreement. I'm not paying referrals, so if I want to get rid of that, I can go down here and archive it, and it now deletes it from your screen. I actually don't require the transaction document receipt anymore, so we can archive that and get rid of it. Now you'll notice that the rest of them, these ones are in black. These are an actual form. These are gray. This is a spot, I call this a holding place, where you will bring in some of the forms. Okay, so like when you get your termite report done, you'll drop it here. If it shows damage, you need to have a clearance, then you'll drop it in here. Your preliminary title report will go there. And I'm going to show you on another file how we do that. But so here's what we've already got in here. But what do I want to do? I also want to bring in the documents I just did. Okay, so there's 2 ways to do it. You always got to click here, add a document. You can go and, if you've already saved it to your computer, you can do it, but I've already actually got it opened right here. So I'm just going to take these 3 and drop them in. Click and drag. Okay, now because there's an actual document there, you'll see that they're in black. And I can turn around and let's say I want to, this is the RPA. I'm going to move it down to my holding place for the RPA. Let me go back and show you that again. So it was up here. When I get this cross there, I just left mouse click and drag. Now where the heck is the contract? Oh, it didn't bring a placeholder for that. Okay, so I don't have to do that. I can just leave it there.
It was a separate file.
Yeah, I thought there was a holding place that says RPAs, but no, that's in the That's in the purchase one. Am I missing it here?
It was like a separate template. When you went to get the buyer's packet,
Oh, it was a
there's a
different one?
template.
Let's go back again.
Yeah,
Go back to templates. I got the master buying forms,
yeah. It should be way at the bottom.
and it didn't, yeah,
No,
there's
no,
the
no.
endless
On the
payout
left hand side.
over here.
Yeah, there should be one towards the bottom.
Well, here, I'm all the way at the bottom.
Oh,
Under
okay. 'Cause
contract, I think it has a spot for the RPA. Yeah, purchase agreement RPA right
okay, there
there.
it is.
Yeah, it's in the
Yeah.
master under contract.
Oh,
I started this out in master buying, so I don't have to
okay.
move it because it's already it's just there. Okay. So I've got these 3 forms in here that I need to have sent out to get signed. Okay. To open a file in Dotloop, you can either click a box and notice that all this pops up. So if I want to do all 3 of these, just go like that. If I want to collect everything in the file, I can do that, and you can see that everything is checked. That has an actual document in it. Okay. But I just want to, for the purpose of this, I'm going to undo them all. And I'm just going to bring in our RPA. Now I can double click here and open it, or I can hit there and open it. Doesn't matter which one. So it's brought in the RPA packet. And ignore the names that are already there, but I'm going to go ahead and add a signature here. And I'm going to sign it. And these are my choices. I'm sending it to Eli. Oh, I, the broker, have to sign it. Now sometimes this is a little bigger than the space that is allowed on the forms. We can adjust it a little bit. Assign it. I'm going to assign this to me. Okay. When it comes back and I want to send it out to the seller to sign, I would drop that in there. Possible representation. Again, same thing. Adjust it down just a little bit. Assign it to Eli. And I have to sign here both times for the company. And this is all you do. You just basically assign it to whoever needs to sign it. I'll show you initials here when we get to the next document. I have found as the agent, it's best to put the spot where you sign, but don't sign it first. Wait for it to come back. I don't know why. So this is the page here. This just has initials. So I'm going to have Eli initial this. And as you go through, you get pretty good at, oh, there's David calling in. Let's see what's going on here. He's one of our brokers down here. David, you're on the middle of our broadcast here. What's going on?
I'm so sorry. I'm just checking. Did you get the email that I sent last night about all Denise's?
Yeah, and did you get the email I sent this morning saying it's all done?
Okay, I know that you certified her. I didn't know if you got the other paperwork to send in to corporate.
I did not get any paperwork from her. Did you send all that attached to that file?
It must have been a different email, and I think.
Okay, I'll find it. No, if I don't find it, I'll call you back.
Okay, thank you. So
bye.
sorry.
All right, bye-bye. See, that's how important you guys are to me. When an agent or a manager calls, I have to take the call. It's just part of me. Okay, so that's all you do is just drop in the initials. Drop in the signatures. Okay? Anybody need to see me go through all the rest of the forms and do this?
I'm good.
You're good? Okay.
I'm good.
Now, I'm going to tell you what I normally do. I don't save and share right from there. I always save first, because sometimes I'm filling in. This is a little hint I just learned the hard way. Sometimes I'm filling in forms that I need, but don't have to be signed by the other party. Okay, like I might have my buyer packet checklist that I opened along with all these documents. Well, I don't need to send that to them. Okay, this is just an internal thing that I'm using as my checklist. By the way, you ever want to know what should be in your file? Everything's right there. Blue is required. Black is, if you have it, check the box, okay? So I always save it first and then turn around and share it. That way I don't, by mistake, send out sharing a document that they don't need to see. Like the packet instructions, if I had opened up that or something like that. Referral agreement. Again, I thought I archived that. Let's do that again. Let's get rid of that. This is if your a commission is being paid to another equity agent. We're not doing that. So here's what I would do then. I want to send this out to Eli to sign. I'm going to share it right there, and he can sign. I want to show you something here, right here. View only. It says right there, can view the document, ideal for third-party service providers. When I send something to title or to escrow or to an appraiser, I use it in view only. They can have the document. They can look at it, okay? Next is consign. If all they have to do is sign, you use this, you put in the spots. Sometimes there's a form that they need to put in some information. And so then I send it over, can fill and sign. They can fill in the pre-designated spots that have to be filled in and then can sign. When you're working with another agent, particularly one that's using Dotloop or just another agent in general, you can always do it, can edit in private. That would allow that other agent to add his client to this loop and prepare the document for his client to sign too. The beauty about this is even if you have both sides of the transaction using Dotloop, while you'll see that they're listed in the documents, as a listing agent, I can't send anything directly to the buyer's agent, and I never see their email address. And vice versa. The buyer's agent never can see that, the name of the seller's there, but they can't send it to them, and they don't have their email address. They can't talk to him directly. They always have to go through the agent. The system's smart enough to do this. So, I'm now going to send this to Eli. And see, it says it's done. So I'm going to close this. You'll notice that it changed here in your loop to waiting on others. It's waiting for Eli. So what we'll need to do now is, Eli, would you be so kind as to go to that Hotmail email and see if it's there?
It's there. I'm working on it.
Okay. Tell me how easy it is.
Okay. It's the same thing as Skyslope when signing.
Right.
So no big deal. Just click, click, and click.
There you go.
It'll ask you what kind of signature you want, and then it'll go off. And
right.
Let's see. Ronald is working on this now.
Go ahead and go all the way through it.
Okay.
I have just a few spots for initials and a few signatures.
Yeah. I sent it out. Now it asks me. I guess I have to re-sign into my Hotmail.
Yep. And I just got an email in my email saying you've signed it. It also went to my phone as a message saying, and I have the Dotloop app on my phone. It told me you signed it. So now I'm going to go back over here and refresh the page. And it changed it to you signed it. How about that? Okay. Now, the beauty about this is I can send this to more than one person. I could have sent it to M, to Stephanie, to Eli, however many people I needed to send this to, I could have sent it to all of them as long as I had a spot for them to sign. I could have sent it to them for them to sign. And it will tell me each time one of them comes back. And there you go. This is the signed document. Let's take a look at it. There we go. Then when I get it back, I go in here and I sign it. Boom. Yep. Wants to know that's my signature. Yeah, that's better than I ever can handwrite. There we go. Hold on. There we go. There. So now I signed it. So now it's signed by me, where I needed to sign it, and it's all signed there. And now I can save it again. Now I go back to the loop. Wait a minute. Why did it change it to not shared? It's there with all the signatures. Yeah, I don't know. So you get done and you're ready to submit this for final approval to be paid. You want to do this 2 or 3 days in advance. This little button up here, submit to review. Click on that. Oh, they want some addresses. So I'm going to send everything in here, and you are always going to select Agent Broker Review. That's going to, for you guys in Fresno, that sends it to M to review. Okay? One other thing that you can always do is up here under the title, you can go and select this is a purchase. My buyer's doing it, and it is under contract right now. So I've submitted that. So I've submitted these 3 documents for approval. Okay? Now obviously you're going to have a whole lot more before you send it to approval. But I want to show you what happens. If I log in as the manager, you can see it tells me this needs office review. So then I can go into it. And I have 3 documents to review. And I'll see this one here. And I'm going to assume that it was signed and go to this one. It was signed. So I go to the first document. I approve it. Goes to the next one. I review it, make sure it's all signed and initialed where it's supposed to be. Yep, there they are. Yep. It's all good. I approve it. Done. It's finished. Okay. Now, I, as a manager, see that those 3 are approved, but more importantly, as an agent, you want to know if your file has been approved, if it's ready to close and get paid on. This is what you see. You see that I approved those 3 forms. You can send the forms over as often as you'd like, but I wouldn't do it every time you get a new form in there. I would probably wait till you have the property under contract. Then after you go through all your disclosures, your home inspection, stuff like that, all those details, do it again. If there's any last minute changes, do it a 3rd time, and then it's ready. Because when you see everything here says approved, you know that when the money is wired to corporate, you will be paid. Now let's talk real quickly about how to make sure you get your money. Okay, 2 things you need to do. I'm going to pull up both these forms. These ones, again, were found in templates. They're already there. These are equity forms. I'm going to open both of them. And if I had my title and escrow, I could put them all in there. This is an autofill process. So first page here is the submission, cover page, and wire information verification. Very important. You will fill in just a few things on this first page. You're going to say whether you're representing a buyer or a seller. This time I had Eli as my buyer. Okay, I'm going to put my name in here as the agent. The address of the property. You don't fill in this part totally. You don't do anything here. The only other thing you do is add your email address to this front page. So what happens is when this gets processed, we're informing escrow to fill in these blanks, send the wire to these wire instructions, and send a copy of this form, the settlement and CD, and a copy of the bank issued wire confirmation to this email address and to this email address. The reason we want it to go to your email address is just in case for some reason we can't find it there, you will have it and you can send it to corporate just to make sure you get paid faster. If we contact you and say like, hey, we don't have the wire confirmation, you go, oh, I have it, just send it right over there. They're supposed to, the escrow company will fill in this information here. Don't worry about the other escrow company. Some states do what we call a split escrow, where there's one for the buyer and one for the seller. So in this state, California, we just do one. This is what you need to fill in. If there's an MLS number, what is it? What date it went under contract? This is the estimated closing date. Who holds the earnest money? When it was delivered? Okay, and how much? And what do you expect the commission to be? Doesn't have to match exactly the front page, okay? But let's say I expect it to be, you know, $4,500, and because I paid an extra $100 towards something, it's going to be $4,400, okay? Well, I just write what I expect it to be, and if it changes in the time frame, no big deal. Again, this is your information, the other agent in there, and away we go. If you have any additional information in here, you type it there. Any questions on this wire submission page?
Yes.
Okay.
That first page that we saw to escrow. So then once we send this, it'll go automatically to the escrow company and they fill that out?
Yeah, you need to send it to them. So you're going to add them to your file. Okay. So if I save this and I added I went back to my add a person to this file, and let's say I use Bob at Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe Escrow. Okay, then I go in there and share it with them. I push, it won't automatically send it, but you got to share it with them. Boom, but I send it to them. Then they have it, and I send it over to them where they can fill it in. They typically don't want to do it online. What they typically do is print this form, handwrite all those things in, and they'll email it to us at the close of escrow.
So at what point do we email this information to escrow?
I do it right away. As soon as I have a property under contract, I send the contract and I send this wire information. Now, if you have a buyer, the seller's going to pick the escrow company or title company. So as soon as I get confirmation of that, I add them to my loop. Again, what I'm going to do is go down here. I'm going to go back to my loop and just show it to you. Got all these forms. I'm going to go here and add this person. I'm going to add the title person. You can see right here, and we have an admin, appraiser, escrow title. You can just give them that role. Add them in, and then I just start sharing every document that is needed for a title or an escrow that way. It'll automatically send them an email saying, Ron has sent you another document. Ron has sent you another document.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
But I get it to them as soon as possible. Now, I will also recommend very strongly that 2 or 3 days before it closes, or about the time the CD gets sent over to them, to your buyer, if you have the buyer, or if you have the seller, again, when you get notified that the CD's been sent out, I always contact your escrow, make sure that they have this page, and ask them if there's any questions or concerns. Every now and then we are getting a title company that says, well, we need something signed by your broker besides this. Okay? The reason I tell you to call 3 or 4 days before you go sign is, let's get that document done in advance, not find out afterwards when you're waiting for your money and you find out, oh, there was a problem, then you have another form I need to sign. What's really interesting about these escrow people, if you've done this for a while, you understand, escrow people get a bunch of documents in the beginning, they set up a file, and they never really look again at that file until they're ready to close the darn thing. And so even though you sent this over to them, they just put it in the file, they didn't really read it. So this is why 3 or 4 days before you close, I ask you to call them, ask them to review it, make sure there's no questions or problems, to make sure you get wired right away. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, Ron?
Yeah.
Where do you insert the $60 that they pay for Dotloop for their
That's the next form I'm going to do.
Oh, okay.
Okay? So any questions on this form? Front page, back page. Get it to escrow as soon as possible.
Okay.
Okay? So I'm saving this form. Where'd the other form go? Oh, that's right. When I went back in, I reopened it up with just the one. So go back to my loop. I'm going to go down here to the document storage and access fee. You need this form with every file you do. And this just gets sent over to the client. I really have never had anybody have a problem signing it. It just says it's direct benefit to the client. The following separate and distinct services being provided. It says that we're keeping them in a portable document format, PDF. It's to the International Organization of Standardization, ISO. It's there for them. They keep them there 7 years at Dotloop. It's 7 years. And you just have them sign here. So if I assign this to Eli, I would send this over with the whole package. He would just sign it, and now he's agreed to pay an additional $60. Probably 90% of our clients sign this without any problem. VA will not allow them to do this. That's the only drawback on VA. So if the person doing the VA closing catches it, they'll say, oh, they're not allowed to pay this. Then this $60 will come out of your side, unfortunately. But I just always get, I pretty much get this signed on everything. I had one VA list last year. I had to pay the extra $60. It's still better than what I was paying the previous company. But this is the form that gets the $60 collected from your client. I use it in every listing and every buyer presentation.
And these stored documents, they've got everything that the buyer and the seller have signed.
Yes.
That is in Dotloop and or escrow information.
Right, because when we're done, we will put into this file the closing statement that we get from escrow. We're going to add it to there. So all these documents are going to be there. So if you get a home inspection and you get a copy of that report, you drop it in here. If you did a request for repairs, you drop it in here. The seller's property questionnaire, that's a San Diego form. The transfer disclosure statement, everything, tax rolls, RPA. Oh, there's the RPA in there. I don't know why that happened. Oh, it added those in when I put it under contract. When I changed the status to under contract, it opened up and dropped in those forms for me. So all those things are there. All these things pretty much are going to be there. By the way, does your board have a local area disclosure? San Diego has one, and Orange County has one now. Are you aware of your board doing any local area disclosures?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I don't know.
What did they say?
Yeah, what would
Some
it?
of them just say certain things to be aware of in the local area.
Well, there's
like
the water
water?
currently.
Just water.
Okay,
Water
so maybe one that you would drop into that area. I'm going to have them change this from San Diego local disclosure to just local area disclosure, and whatever area you're in, if they have one. If you know of a form like that that's written by your board, not CAR, but by the board, give me a copy of it, and I will get it put into Dotloop for us, okay? So it'll automatically be there already templated out for easy signature.
And that meaning like the water disclosure, the anything like that.
Well, when you say water disclosure, what does that say?
I sent you that a water disclosure that we use, but that's a guarantee thing. I don't think it's a FAR thing, is it, guys?
I think it's gone far now.
It's
I know it's in the. I think it's in the files. I know wire fraud too.
Yeah,
Is
we
over
don't have a wire fraud disclosure, but any forms like that that you think are important, I would love to review and get them put in the template for you guys.
Okay.
I think the water contamination disclosure of Fresno, properties in the city of Fresno, was developed by Guarantee's attorney initially. I don't know if FAR has developed one.
Okay.
Okay. And we'll check on. We can check on that.
Em, can you do me a favor and send me that form again today if you still have it? I'd love to see it.
Yeah, I think I sent you 3.
Okay.
That,
I'll go back and find them. And
yeah.
bottom line is, if it is an important form to have, if it's written by Guarantee's attorneys, I don't want to plagiarize, so I'll have it rewritten. But typically if one big company thinks it's an important disclosure to have, I think so too. I'd rather over disclose and make sure we don't get sued on the issues than not disclose and have to pay a fee later.
All right.
So again, anything like that you see that you think is important, you just send it to me, and we'll discuss it, and we'll get it back on there in the templates. I was going to go back over here and show you how to bring it in from email. Again, I just kind of click and drag. So I got this transaction going. And I was sent a document. Well, look at all those emails come in today. I was sent a document by Evan. that needs to be added to the file. So I'm going to download it. Actually download it right there. Brings it to the bottom of the page, open up there. And this is a seller of mine. I'm just going to bring this. No, that was not what I was supposed to do. Every now and then it messes up. There it is. There's my file right there. Oh, I know what I did wrong. I forgot to open the add a document. Here's this new document. And on this one, it was, I'm going to rename it, Verification of Property Condition, VPC. Okay? And it just says everything was fine. Got it? So I'm going to go back. And first I'm going to rename it. And I got to add some signatures. And from there, I'm done. I'm going to save it. Again, it's just my habit to save first. You don't have to fill in the dates because when you electronically sign, it automatically fills in the date. And I'm going to share this. I know I do extra steps. I could have shaved it and shared it right from then, but I just get in my little habits of this is the way I do it. And there we go. Now I just wait for them to sign it. That's how I bring it in from an email. I just normally just click and drag it over. Any questions on using Zipforms and Dotloop?
Yes.
Okay.
The first one, when you sent the documents to the Vault, is that another storage place or is that basically deleted? Because I did that when I was trying Dotloop on AMS for a file, and there was no delete the file, but it went to the Vault.
Okay, yeah. So nothing is ever 100% deleted. You can archive it. So like when I'm done with this class, I'm going to archive it.
Yeah.
Okay. But up here, there's a thing called filter. So this allows me to say, what do I want to see on my dashboard? Right now, I don't have the archives checked. If I do that and apply the filter, all of a sudden I get a whole bunch more files that I've archived. So that file you played around on is there somewhere. You just have to change the filter.
Okay.
Great question, by the way. I forgot to do that one. So you can store them as either I got rid of it, I just don't need it, or it's done, it's in front. I mean, you 3-4 years into this, you can have so many files open, you have no clue, what you're looking at. So I typically keep it to just the active ones. Even when they're sold, I don't need to see them anymore. Once a final that's leased out, I don't want to see it anymore. Archived, I don't want to see it anymore. But it's always there. And even in that loop, where let's see, apply the filter again. Back to just these ones. Even the files that I archived when we were sitting here looking at it, so like, I don't need that one, I'm going to archive it. It's not gone, it's just hidden from the screen.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
It's a good thing, because it keeps everybody honest. They can't say, oh, that happened, I never saw that paper.
And that's a scary thing.
The scary thing if you're used to pulling papers out of the file. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, for example, let me just give you. Sometimes you let's see here. Let me look. Let me see. Give you an example of one. Okay. So when I have a listing, well, here I'll tell you what I'm talking about here. Let me go back to one of my loops here. Okay, when I first sent these out for him to be signed, and then I got them back. And he actually printed them, scanned them, and sent them back. So I brought them back this way, but I put them right on top of the other forms. So the original raw form that was not filled out is actually still hidden behind here, but it replaced it with that. I've sent these out to the other agent. When I get them back, I will drop them right on top. I won't add another line item in the file. It's not like I'm going to have that here twice. When they send that email back to me, I'm going to drag it and put it right on top of that one. So it'll have all three copies, but it'll have the current copy on top, the one that matters the most, signed by all parties. Does that make sense?
Yes. But can you go back to the bottom pages?
I believe there is a way. I've never had to do that, so I'm not really familiar with it, but I believe there is a way that you can do it. Because that's why we keep them, so that no one can say that, hey, he changed this between this form and that form. First of all, if they're actually actively in Dotloop, no one can change a form once it's been signed. But if you send it out to them via email and they print it and sign it and they somehow monkey with it and send it back, yeah, you have both sets there, and we can compare.
Now, is this the same thing as if, let's say, I receive a document, I upload it, and I put it on Dotloop, and then I received an additional part of that document, or in addition to that document, let's say, like the purchase agreement. There's a regular purchase agreement, and maybe there's a disclosure or whatever, and if I want to add it into that same field, is it going to cover up the purchase agreement and then put whatever I recently added on top of it?
In that case, it would cover up the purchase agreement, and since you want to have that readily available to see, you might at that point actually just import it as a new document, name it as RPA continuation.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
Or say like, because this disclosure of agency is really actually in this document here too.
Right.
Okay. If they send it back separately, I might put it over that. But since it's already there, I might just come back over here and say, okay, I need to just archive that because it's already in my other thing. Okay. But so you can play around with it, whatever makes sense to you to be able to see the documents you need.
But we're not going to be able to see, because usually what I recall with SkySlope, if I submit multiple files or multiple forms into one holding, then I can view the different forms. It could be that RPA, and then like in addition to RPA and then something else, and I can choose and open either one of those or even delete either one of those.
Okay, this one, I don't know if it has this capability, and the best place to go to find that out is you can contact Dotloop directly, and right here is the help center, and here's your member number. And again, I got to that by going to my profile, my account page, right here on the bottom. Call corporate and ask them if that's possible to do that. I've never done that. I don't know if it's capable of doing that or not.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Great question, though. And it might be a technology that they're working on. Most of these companies, keep a running log of what people have asked for, and if they get enough people asking for it, they do it. Any other questions?
There was another one I just forgot.
Well, hey, yeah, you keep thinking about it. Stephanie, do you have any questions?
No, that was it. The only thing, oh, I know, I did have one. As far as with the storage and everything where they pay the $60,
Uh-huh.
do you normally send paper copies, all the paper copy to your client as well, or do you just leave it at that they can
I never
access
send a
it?
paper copy to anybody anymore.
You don't?
Nope.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask.
Because if they've signed it, then they verify that they actually have a copy of it too, because they signed it electronically. It's available.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
Hey, are they able to go into Dotloop and get those documents and print them out themselves if needed?
You can certainly do that, and a lot of times what I'll do is like right now I'm pulling off all my purchase agreements for last year. I'll pull out the purchase agreement and I'll print off the closing statement, which shows any fees they may have paid. And in January, I'll mail it to all the people I sold a house to last year with a cover letter saying you may need your tax preparer may need this, and here I sent it to you.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's fine.
That was the purchase agreement, and which one else?
The closing statement.
The closing statement. Yeah, because then they use that for their taxes, correct?
Correct. A buyer can deduct the fees paid in the year that they paid them.
Yeah.
So any prepaid interest, anything like that, taxes, whatever.
Right. So I just send it to them. Whether they use it or not, I don't care. But I'm showing them that I'm thinking about them. And here, I'm taking care of you. You don't have to dig through your files. Here it is for you.
Okay. I remember my question.
Okay.
Sometimes when I use the electronic signatures, loan officers in particular, they want proof of that signature verification. I'm not sure what it's called, but they want to make sure that my client was the one that actually signed it.
Sure.
What is that? Proof? Electronic signature proof?
Yeah. And again, that'd be one where I would just contact Dotloop. I'm sure that they can do that. Yeah, they just want to make sure that you didn't sign it for them.
Right, but I thought there was because like in SkySlope, there is a page where I can print out or email the loan officer where it states to whom I sent it and what email and when they signed.
I'm sure we have that in here too. I'm just not aware of where that is. I've never had anybody ask me that yet. In the 2 years I've used this. But again, if you just go to under your profile, my account, go down and just call the help center, they'll tell you exactly how to get it. I'm sure it's there.
Okay.
Yeah, because if they require that, great. Then we want to make sure we have it for them.
Right. Another question, a little off topic.
Okay.
When we submit an offer or a contract or whatever, and we put equity real estate, I notice there's California in there. do we need to put Equity California Real Estate?
No, because I set up a DBA for your office. You guys are Equity Real Estate dash Fresno.
So whenever we like on the RPAs and other forms, it says, you know, a broker or the brokerage. So we have to, so the proper way to put it on there would be Equity Real Estate dash Fresno?
Correct.
Okay.
We always use a corporate number, correct?
You always use the corporate number, but I have filed and properly done, so we are 100% compliant with the state on using Equity Real Estate Fresno. When we came to California, Equity Real Estate was already taken, so we had to do Equity California Real Estate. And then when I set up a new office, I just do the DBA for each office. And I took out the California because it's easier to say Equity Real Estate because all the stuff we have says Equity Real Estate. So more importantly, you're in the Fresno office.
Okay.
Good question. Any other questions about anything?
I think that's good for me.
Great, Stephanie.
One more
How
question.
are your closings going, Stephanie?
What was that?
How are your closings going?